Hello chess friends, and welcome to Azarov's chess channel, and welcome to my new series playing d4. So in this series I'm going to show you a very nice repertoire while playing as white, with the first move d4, and I'm going to show you how to play maybe against the Queen's Gambit accepted, against the Queen's Gambit declined, maybe the Benoni, maybe the Philidor defense, maybe, and many opening that black can choose against d4. So I'm going to show you the main strategical ideas and the best lines in this opening. So today I wanted to show you this Queen's Gambit accepted with this particular line, with this b4 b5 line, with this flank attack by black, and this flank attack can be maybe annoying for you, but there is this basic rule in chess how to play against the flank attack. You should somehow maybe stop the attack on the flank, or well, weaken the pawn structure. So when your opponent plays with this pawn chain and tries the flank attack, you should somehow try to break the pawn chain. So I'm gonna show in the continuation of the video what's all about, and I hope you will enjoy this very aggressive line of this Queen's Gambit accepted. So first of all, I wanted to show you now after d4 d5 c4 d takes c4. First, I recommend you to play the move knight on f3. And you see, after knight on f3, you are basically covering this very important square e5, and you're not allowing your opponent to play e5 himself, because if d takes e5, if you wouldn't have your knight, this will lead really here into the simplification of the position. Well, black is threatening to trade your queens, and it will be perfectly fine for him to continue after the queens are off the board. So here your opponent will probably play knight on f6, and here after e3 your opponent will try e6. So this is now the line that I wanted to show. Here we have bishop on c4, and now c5, of course, for black. He wants to do again the same thing. If you take d takes c5, he will again trade your queens, and you won't be able, of course, to castle after that, and this will be also a very nice game for black. So here I wanted to show you a very instructive game. It was played by Chris Beaumont against Edmund Player, and here white first castled, and now black tries with his a6 this idea to play b5. So here I don't recommend you to play the move a4 immediately, because if you play a4, then your opponent can take c takes d5, and then if you take e takes d5, then he will play knight on c3, and you see with this a4 pawn, which you have already moved, your opponent can occupy this b4 square, and it's hard to kick away this knight. And after the knight jumps on b4, well, black can really fix the position on the square d5. So this is the main strategical idea for black in this line. He wants with this preparation to play force you to play the move a4. But here I recommended this line. If you should play first the move queen on e2 and allow your opponent to play b5. So here Chris Beaumont played bishop on d3, and here black tries c4. Now, of course, bishop on c2, and now knight on c6. And this is now this black's idea. He wants to have this space advantage on the queen side, and you see black has here this very annoying pawn chain, and there is this basic rule how you should play against these pawn chains. You should break them or stop them somehow. So of course the pawn chains are always the best to break in the middle of the pawn chain. So of course here white tried the move a4. So if of course b takes a4, you see then black will have three weak pawns which are really then object of white attack, and they will be really easy to take. So that's why here black tried bishop on b7, 8 takes b5, 8 takes b5, and now rook on a8. Of course, queen takes on a8, and here again black has this majority here on this queen side, but here you can simply play knight on c3, attacking this b5. If your opponent plays b4, then you can jump with your knight here on b5 and threatening the fork here on c7, and black would be forced here to play maybe with the queen, but meanwhile you can take out then this pawn on c4, so this wouldn't be a very good line for black. So that's why here after knight on c3, black tried bishop on a6, and okay, black had his fun on the queen side, but now it's our time to attack. You see, we have already castled, we have developed all of our pieces, and the bishop, although on c1 didn't play, it can be liberated by the move e4. So now these bishops are really aiming on the queen side, on the king side, and of course black will be having problems after castling. So of course we have then possibilities to play e5, and this would be this would deflect the knight from f6 on the defense on h7, and we could really create a really nice attack. So that's why black tried, pardon me, after knight on c3, bishop on a6, e4. So black tried here knight on b4, attacking this bishop, and here Chris Beaumont didn't react. He played d5, which means with this idea, with this common rule in chess, if your opponent hasn't castled, you should somehow try to break in the center. So here knight takes on c2 was played, queen takes on c2, and now bishop on c5. Black tries now really fast development because he realized that he hasn't played actively in this opening. So here Beaumont took first the pawn on e6, d takes on e6, we have f takes on e6, and now e5, again with the same idea to deflect the knight from the defense on h7, and of course then after that maybe the queen can go here on g5 or maybe here on h5 and somehow create an attack. So now knight on d5 was played, and here white played knight on g5, attacking also this e6. So here knight on c3 was played, and here Chris Beaumont didn't even react. He didn't take here this knight on c3. He played knight takes on e6, also preventing here again black from castling, because of course the knight is covering this f8 square. So we have a queen on c6 by black, and now knight on g7 with a check, king on f8, and we have queen on f5. Very nice attack. So of course black took the knight, but now e6 was played, and of course we have here the immediate threat here to play queen on f7, so that's why black tried knight on e2 with a check, king on h1, and here he played with this rook. He tried somehow to castle, but now white had this move, queen on g5, we have king on h8, and now queen on e5, again with a check and also attacking the knight. But that's not the point. After king on g8, here was played bishop on h6, try immediately to checkmate black, and here queen on b7 was played, of course covering the g7 square. But now after a check again, white simply took out this bishop on c5. So now well, black has a problem with this knight. The knight doesn't have any squares to jump, so if knight on c5 would have been played, then we have again queen on e5, and we will simply take out the knight. So that's why black tried here at least somehow to weaken the king side and the pawn structure around the king. So here after h6 g3, black resigned. This is really now dangerous pawn. Well, black has really many weaknesses around this king on this dark square, so it's of course a completely winning game for white. So you see this, let's go to this opening line after d takes c4, and Here after bishop takes c4 with this a6 and b5, c4, bishop on c2, you see this pawn chain is really breakable with this move a4, and I really wanted to want you to memorize this important move, which is really the main idea in this opening. And you see, I cannot of course show you all of the possible lines in any opening because well, chess is too heavy to explain in that way. You cannot just learn it move per move, but this a4 I really wanted to memorize because it meets with the strategical idea of breaking the pawn chains, and it's really important for you to memorize this move. So let's see now another example. Here I wanted to show you a game. It was played by Wolfgang Ullmann against Lutz Espig, again with this same idea. We have here d4, d5, c4, d takes c4, and again knight on f3, as I said, preventing this e5 move, knight on f6, e3, e6, and now bishop on c4. So here we have c5, and here after castling, again this idea a6, and now queen on e2, b5, bishop on d3, and here black tries knight on c6. So here after knight on c6, I recommend you first to take the pawn here on c5, because now we have really weakened the dynamic pawn structure of black that he has created with a6, b5, and c5. So of course black will take it out, but now again with this idea to play a4. So you see, if b takes a4, then your rook will come really actively into the game, and you can really well swap it on this maybe dangerous h5 square, and with the support of this bishop on d3, it can really create a really deadly attack on the king after castling. So that's why black will probably try to play the move b4. So now you have knight from b to d2, and here after castling you can play knight on c4. So here Wolfgang Ullmann played a very nice line. He has now a very nice central control with his two knights. This knight is very good placed on c4. So here after bishop on b7, he played e4. Of course with the preparation to play bishop on g5, and then maybe with some pinning threats here to play the move e5. So that's why, well, black tried at least to get rid of this knight on f3. So we have knight takes on d4, bishop takes on d4, but again bishop on g5 with the same idea to play e5. So that's why black tries e5 himself, but now we have a5. And this a5 I want you also to memorize. It's really often played in this Queen's Gambit accepted, because after e5 we have really fixed the position on the queen side. And although the continuation didn't go in this game to go after this b4 pawn, but I hope you realize this b4 pawn is really weak, and it's really an object of white's attack. Meanwhile with this a5 we have also support here on this potential b6 square, and which create after knight on b6, maybe bishop takes on b6, but then we wouldn't have opened here this a file. So that are just some ideas in this line, but I really want you to memorize this a4 a5 idea. So if your opponent plays a5 himself with black, I hope you realize then he would leave here this very weak b4 square. So that would be then our object of an attack. We should try somehow to fix the position there, to go maybe with the bishop or with the knight on b4. So this is I think really important, because you see black had his chances on the queen side, but basically what happened after a couple moves, that we as white are stronger on the queen side. So with this a4 move, I hope you realize it, that it's playable. So now we are it's possible here to simply transpose the game and try here to play on the king side. So we have solved our problems on the weaker side. Now it's time to create an attack on the side that we have better activity of our pieces. So of course we're gonna try to attack on the king side now. So we have again this pin situation. So here after queen on e7, now white tries knight on e3 with maybe preparations to play knight on d4, or maybe to play the knight on d5 or knight on f5 with the spinning situation. And of course well, black cannot take this pawn on e4 because you will simply take it out, and because of the pin you are not able to retake with the knight. So we have bishop on e3, and now, well, it would be sort of a mistake to take with the queen. We of course want to continue the game and play on the spin. So of course f takes e3. Now queen to d6 was played, and now knight bishop takes the knight on f6, g takes f6, and now bishop on c4, queen on e7, and rook on f5. So I'm not gonna show you now the continuation of the game. It's obvious that white is simply better because he can double his rooks and play here simply on this weakness on the f6. So after a couple of moves, Wolfgang Ullmann managed to win this game. But I really wanted to show you this importance of this a4 and a5 move. And in our first example, I've also showed you the importance of this a4 move. So let's see now another example. This is now a game from top grandmaster level between Shakhriyar Mamedjarov and David Navara, and I really love this Shakhriyar Mamedjarov style. He plays always like this Gambit lines, and here I wanted to show you again very nice line against this flank attack by black. So we have here d4 by Shakhriyar Mamedjarov, d5, c4, d takes c4, and here after knight on f3, knight on f6, then again e3, e6, and now bishop on c4. And we have here now e6 by Navara, knight on f3, now c5. Castling, a6, again preparation, again queen on e2. So we are not scared of this b5 move. So here Navara played b5, and here Mamedjarov played bishop on d3. And here Navara, well, he takes out the pressure in the center with the move c takes d5, but Shakhriyar Mamedjarov doesn't care here for the pawn. He played rook on d1, and after d takes e3, you see we have this very nice discovered attack on the queen, which is also often in this Queen's Gambit accepted lines, and you should maybe watch really many of these Queen's Gambit accepted games, and you will realize that this possibility of the discovered attack on the queen is happening really often. So here we have bishop on e7 by Navara, and now we have again this move a4. Again, we try to break this pawn chain here, and we want to create more weaknesses in the position. So here Navara played b takes a4, and now the rook comes into the game. Very nice. And here after d takes e3, we have bishop on e3, and now knight from b to d7. Here Mamedjarov played knight on c3, and look at this position now. He has developed his rook, he has developed his knight, he has developed all of his pieces. Well, the pieces are basically on the best, the most active squares that it can be, and this is really now perfect attack by the legendary Shakhriyar Mamedjarov. Well, he's really one of my favorite grandmasters these days, and he creates here now really deadly attack against also a strong player, David Navara. And here Navara of course castled, and here bishop on g5. Again, the threat is here to take the knight on f6, and then maybe after knight takes on f6, again with the possibility to with this discovered attack on the queen. And if the bishop takes, well, then we have again maybe bishop on b1 and try do some pinning here on d7, because black is forced basically to play the move bishop on b7. He has to develop now fast. He is a pawn up, but well, you see this very nice piece activity by Shakmir Mamedjarov. Now rook on d4. You see monster domination here on the d file. Very active game. He gave up the pawn for the activity. That's his style, and I really love his style. So here we have bishop on bishop takes on f3. Again, I'm pointing you out. The threat was to take the knight out on f6, and then maybe after that to take the pawn on h7, and then after that this knight. So here bishop on f3 was played, queen takes on f3, and now Navara tried this line in which he gets out of the spinning situation. So here Mamedjarov played queen on e3, and now Navara escaped with his queen on b8. So we have again some pinning action here on with his bishop on f4. Now knight on g4 was played, and now queen on e2. Now Navara thought maybe that he will well, he'll win a piece with the move e5, but now we have bishop on g3, now h5, and now knight on d5. So here rook on e8 was played, and here h3, and now h4. Knight takes on f6. If the knight takes now on f6, well, you will simply get rook takes on h4. So this would be a really nice attack now with the preparation to create here an attack again on this very weak h7 square. So that's why Navara took out with the bishop. Bishop takes on f6, and here we have queen on e4 by Mamedjarov. So he creates again here this very nice attack on the same square on h7, because black has weakened his king side too much. Here we have g6, of course. Now bishop on c4. Again, the threat is to take even the pawn here on g6 because of the spin on the king. It's possible. So we have here king on g7, and now rook on d7. The problem for Navara is that he didn't play with this rook. You see, really white had his domination here on the d file. These pieces are still on the best active squares, and really nice activity play by Shakhrya. Here we have rook on e7, and now bishop takes on h4, bishop takes on h4, and now queen on g4, and bishop on f6. Here rook on d6 was played, rook on c7, and now queen on f3, attacking the bishop, and of course bishop on h4, and now rook on d7. There's no way for black to defend this very weak f7 anymore, so we have rook takes on d7, rook takes on d7, and now queen on b4, queen on f7, and after a couple of moves black resigned because there is this forced checkmate for Shakmir Mamedjarov. So very nice and active play by this top grandmaster. So okay, this will be it for this b5 outpost line, and we're gonna continue with the Queen's Gambit accepted. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna show you in this D4 series many many nice games, and of course the best lines and the most aggressive ones. So meanwhile, you can watch my repertoire as black, you can watch my hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense videos, and you can watch my King's Indian videos, which cover your game for while playing as black. And of course guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks you for watching, and chess is the best, of course.